What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Conquering the markets all day long. Excited to be here with y'all for this session. A lot to talk about over here. It's going to be a really, really good session. Getting right. I don't even think I'll have to find the flow. I'll jump right into the flow. It's going to be real nice. Tom, you were asking about the true trend. If you go to the playlist on the channel and you go to the Get Starting with Forex, let me pause that right there. You go to Get Starting with Forex playlist, you'll see that we have two videos on the true trend. The first one was the simple and effective tool for trend traders. All right, go ahead and start with that one. And then the other one, which was much more inclusive, it's about a 28-minute tutorial, is trading with the true trend. Watch those two videos to get the a full tutorial on the true trend and trading with the true trend. We're going to look at gold for sure over here. We're going to look at Bitcoin. Alt's exploding. Is alt season early? No, it's right on time. I've said now, I've said all year, going back 12 months ago as this channel started, alt season begins. Alt season begins 6 months after the halving. That's what's happening right now. We're right on time as Ethereum takes out, again, the 390 level, setting it off. Now, it did once before, early. It happened early. I said, well, it's happening earlier than expected, but we have to follow price, and that failed. And then here we go again. All right, let's take a look first at the equity markets over here. S&P 500, what's going on over there? So the first thing I see is that we're still within this consolidation pattern over here, this downward sloping channel, this bull flag over here, and we're just in dead center of it. Now, could someone say that we're going to really quick, because this is not where the action is, or is it? Equities the indexes are interesting today. We'll do a quick review and everyone will have a really good look and understanding. But, the one thing that you could say over here, since this is normally, you're looking for an extension out of here, looking to buy off of the support is one of the ways you can play it. There was an opportunity. I think this was, on Monday over here, right? When price came in, entry right there where I have that little mark right there. Now you can see what happened over here. We've tested the lower end of the support again, and now could be resuming off this session. Is this a trade you want to take at? Well, let's look at the rest of the indexes, and then you make up your mind, right? Here you have the Nasdaq in a similar formation over here, right? You have this descending channel over here. Look, it's into this area of support that we have drawn over here, this area of local support. That's where price is peaking down right now. You could see that an entry here on the Nasdaq, by the way, like a higher high, would be coming out of the channel right now. And I just want to go ahead and extend this trend line down over here for you. That's touching, this is the prime trend line, actually. The prime trend line that we've been looking at on the Nasdaq. And let me just go ahead and extend that upwards, and it's also right over there. So that's an interesting little area and everything that's happening over there. And I just have to say, if I was looking at the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, out of the two, I would be leaning towards the NASDAQ this morning. What else is going on over here? What happens if we break this? What happens if we break down over here? Well, we still got this other bit of trend line over here below, right? So I'll extend that up right now. Watch over there. And then, if we broke this trend line over there, I would be looking for a quick move down into the support over here. A quick move down into the support over there. But that would still be healthy. I would not be saying at that point that we had any type of technical break, right? Because that would be really bullish. 11,280. There's a lot of support in that area. We could possibly hold that level. But right now, just focusing on where price is, into the local support over there, holding the trend line. And if you break out of this channel, that's a bullish event, something to consider. If you look at the Dow, you see the Dow is also, after breaking out of the channel, look, we thought we were getting back into it, had trouble holding, sold off, but into support now. So the equities are not like, oh yeah, this is so clear, I want to jump in them. But you could see today that things are now lining up a lot clearer than they have been for over a week now. Well, ever since we took profit, right? You can see finally, this is why patience pays, right? All of you who feel like you need to be in a trade all the time, you're doing this wrong. You are doing this wrong. That's not how it works. What about the Russell? So this looks, actually, the markets are mixed in my opinion, because this looks like it's setting up for a possible short. Why do I say that? Well, you had also this downward sloping channel, and then we broke down out of the bottom of it. And then we've come back up now, and we're testing this broken support. So if this holds as resistance and we roll over, well, that would give a short signal over here on the Russell. So we do have a mixed market over here. I could get rid of this parabolic trend line right now. That's not into play anymore. So let me go ahead and make that lower. I don't also need this trend line anymore, but I'm going to keep this outer upper resistance over here of this little bit of a channel that let me go ahead and make that darker. This channel that I'm focused in on, right? Let me go ahead. Do I like that? See, I'm touching these peaks. Here was kind of support and then resistance again. I do like that. It's going to make it like that because a break above that and also that little bit of resistance here at 1619, 1620, that would set off a bullish reaction over there. So there's a look at the indices. Yeah, are the indices putting up a double top? I don't know. I mean, double tops are meant to be broken. I don't look for double tops ever, but that's not a double top. That's a lower high over here. If you look at, that's a lower high over here. So I don't see a double top. Double top would actually be, there would be symmetry. It would have the same exact horizontal peak over there. Let's keep going over here. Let's look at the DXY. The DXY, first of all, yesterday, it didn't touch. I didn't get a nice touch of my trend line over here yesterday. Close to it, but at the close of London, that's where the dollar put in the low. And then we've come back up into the resistance. And now, so far, are coming off of that resistance, having a little bit of trouble. But we're back in no man's land. And not only that, I have to continue to include, we are still going sideways, right? Notice how I've been avoiding the sideways market. And because it's really, what market you're focused in on is so important. And there's opportunity every day. That's why we look across all these markets together. But you have to be better at your selection of where you're focusing your attention and why. So dollar, yeah. What about the gold over here? So gold over here, and I noticed a lot of different traders have a lot of different views on gold right now. Listen, technical analysis is not a science. It is an art. This is how I do my art, right? And you could see over here, everyone familiar watching the channel understands why I had this trend line, how I cloned this trend line before we came into here, and how it peaked up down into there, right? You can see then it held as resistance again. Now we have the breakout. By the way, never take the breakout, right? Never take the breakout. This is protecting yourself right now. However, right now we're coming right in to test that resistance that broke to see if it holds as support or not. And also we have my 1904 support horizontal, the same area of support. So now that you've had the breakout, you're having the retest right now, a resumption is making a higher high, giving the entry signal. That's a high probability trade. It doesn't mean it's going to work out. It just means you have a higher probability of it working out than what? Well, then taking a breakout, for example. That's a low probability trade. That's how we protect ourselves. All right. So let's see what happens. This is setting up for a potential buy over here. This is conquering the markets all day long. Let's see whether or not we come back into this area over here. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extend this down. I'm going to extend that down. And as I extend it down, watch over here. All right. Let me extend that down perfectly. All right. Well, we didn't get a perfect touchdown over there, but you get the I get the general idea, right? How that broken resistance was holding us support over here. If we break over here, I'm then looking down over to this area over here. I'll be watching this lower trend line to see if that's what forms as support. I'll be watching this trend line over here. I'll be watching that trend line over there to see if that holds as support. And also my, what is that, 1872 horizontal support. So if we lose this area, that's what I'll be looking for to see if we hold. And would that be a buy entry for myself? Or if that holds down over here and we resume off of it, that would be a place I would look to take a buy. And if we don't and we break that, well, then we all know what happens. So that's a good look at gold this morning. Silver, rejected by the resistance, clear as day, right? Coming into this is now support, right? Boom, support. Is it going to hold? I have no idea. I would not take a buy off of here, right? Again, I would just wait and continue to wait until we break out of this trend line, giving the technical breakout, and then perhaps looking for a long. But at this moment in time, it still remains, even though we're getting closer down over here to the break, there's more room, right? There's a big between 25 and 26. But at this point, I think I need to break above here and confirm this 26 into support before silver starts running with ease or looks better for taking a trade. What about Bitcoin over there? By the way, I'll just briefly show you silver, WTI crude oil. And anyone who's following this channel for months knows, right? Since here, I've said what? Avoid oil, because it's a sideways market. Avoid it. Over here, I put in, all right, we did a couple of trades for fun, right? Now, I didn't take them, but we played them out. And then, or no, was it over there? No, I'm sorry. I take that back. That's not correct. It was here and then here, right? But now we're back, and I've said sideways, and we continue sideways. Know what markets to trade and know what markets to avoid. That's a market to avoid like the plague right now, and it continues to go nowhere. Bitcoin over here. All right, what do we got going on Bitcoin? So this is one of the scenarios that we looked at yesterday in the afternoon update, by the way. And what was that scenario? Was that Bitcoin starts consolidating right below that resistance, which so far it's doing, right? And, look, a couple of things could still happen. I'm not saying that that's the scenario that we looked at that's going to take place, but that's what's happening right now is Bitcoin is consolidating below that resistance. That's very, very bullish in this type of price action. You've heard me once this year talk about that, how I don't want to confuse anyone. And I don't remember if it was on Bitcoin. I don't remember where it was and when. But I talked about Bitcoin consolidating below resistance being super bullish. And here we are again. It's happening. This is just uber bullish after that breakout over here that we all, by the way, that was the 40% take profit yesterday, right? And now pushing the other 60%. So this is consolidating over here. And if this breaks above, that's just ultra bullish. You are seeing there's not much else to add. If you want to know what's going on with Bitcoin, watch yesterday afternoon's upload and you get the scenarios that could happen from here. On Ethereum, right? And by the way, when I say there's not much to add, because this is where we looked at Bitcoin from a swing trader's perspective. We took the trade, beautiful analysis on where we're placing the stop losses, why, where we were looking to take profit, why, the rest we were looking to push the trade, and why. But we just took profit yesterday. So it's not like, oh, where's the next entry? No, when you take a profit, rarely are you looking to re-enter again. That's not how it works, okay? So now the next thing you're doing is just waiting, observing, until it becomes clear. Again. Thank you, Pacific Pips, definitely. On BlockFi, you cannot set a limit order, right? But BlockFi, you're buying or selling Bitcoin not on leverage. You can't set limit orders. On Ethereum over here, beautiful breakout now. By the way, we looked at this also yesterday in the afternoon update. We looked at looking for a retest of the 390, and now we're resuming off. I talked about that once we do, as we've lifted off now, there's not much in the room between targeting up here at this resistance at 500. Let's see how fast we fly. You could see right where my mouse is. I'm not going to draw the level. I don't need to, but you see this little peak into resistance, this area as support right over here, then resistance, then again as support. It's a light level. That's where we are right now. No big deal again. And there's another one right up here, right? It's not just that we're going to shoot up, but there's not much in between. It could happen quickly. Here we go. Altcoins are now playing catch up as Bitcoin consolidates. It's uber bullish. And by the way, the other thing that I do want to point out, because I had to almost fight people on it earlier in the year, right? Look, you have the dollar up today and, Bitcoin is up. It's breaking that correlation. I was very adamant that will happen. That's going to continue to happen, and it's going to get really pronounced beginning in the late first quarter 2021, and then the rest of the year, forget it. But here's another indication of seeing it. Dollar was bid today. Crypto doesn't really care. That's what happens as you get this point in the cycle. What else? Chainlink, it's coming up towards this area of resistance where we peaked out last time. And nice to see it making a higher swing high, because we're running into this little bit of like, here was a lower swing high, right? And then we made a lower low. And now all of a sudden we've took back out that higher swing high and are coming back up towards this one. So yesterday, someone in the comments on the YouTube video was like, that doesn't look bearish to me at all, or bad. That looks extremely bullish. They nailed it. Would I still recommend buying Bitcoin now for 6 to 12 months to hold? Roberto, I think Bitcoin is cheap right now. I think Bitcoin under 20,000 is still ripe for accumulation. My target on Bitcoin is 140,000. I don't think that's the peak. I set a goal that I want to achieve here, and I'm not selling my Bitcoin at 140,000. I'll be selling my Bitcoin, when I get my signal to sell Bitcoin. I don't know what price that will be, but I'm targeting 140,000. And, let's see where I could get out. I don't expect I'm going to get out at the top at all, nor am I trying to. And it's not going to be easy to get out even close to the top. So I'm going to do my best. Do I think Bitcoin could hit 280,000 or even 300,000? Yeah, of course I do. Absolutely. Bitcoin tends to overshoot on the upside. It tends to overshoot on the downside. But if you're asking, is Bitcoin, in my opinion, a good investment here at 13,000 if I'm targeting 6 figures? Yeah, I don't know a better investment. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. This needs to be on the daily, by the way. Looking at one of the exit signals I'll be looking for is this pi cycle. This comes from lookintobitcoin.com. It's not default on TradingView. I just go ahead and subscribe to their like Patreon or something like that, because this gives, for the past 2 cycles, the perfect exit signal on Bitcoin. It's one thing that I'll be considering. It's one thing that I'll be sharing with you as we get there. Yeah, we're getting kind of close to when I'll make sure I get out the video on how I believe on trading Bitcoin in the bull cycle is the best way to trade it. And it's what I believe to be the best. I hope everyone leans on it, because I know a lot of people are going to be trying to time Bitcoin. I don't think that's the best way to do that at all. When you sell Bitcoin, so this is a fantastic question. It's going to be so fun to talk about as we get there. By the way, 1,300 people, 238 likes. I'm enjoying the flow of the session. If you are too, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're happy to be here, if you're learning anything, or if you're enjoying the analysis, please go ahead and smash that like button. Do you see volume over 13K Bitcoin price is extremely low? That means after 1350, Bitcoin can peak really high really quickly. I don't know, ML. I don't ever look at volume in anything I trade. So we'll see. I don't know. I think that actually, and it was Alan this morning in Conquering the Markets, who in Telegram group, who said that, which I agree with completely. He would notice that once we get past 14, at that point, who knows what could happen, and Bitcoin could just do some parabolic crazy stuff. That's what I believe is, again, you all know I've been targeting, and I did the video on July 6th. I uploaded the video of my Bitcoin price target for 2020, which was a price target of 18,000, right? And, again, Bitcoin was trading at 9,000 at that point. I think that also, I agree with Alan. He articulated it perfectly. Once Bitcoin gets above 14,000, it could just do some crazy parabolic stuff, right? So, we'll see what happens next. How about that? So what else are we looking at? So by the way, as we get towards the cycle, as we get towards the end of the cycle over here, when I'm saying, hey, look, here's what I'm watching. Okay, guys, I'm exiting now. Here's why I'm exiting. And then, will I get into a stable coin? That's a year from now. Things will be way different on the macro landscape. We will be at that point figuring out and discussing what is the best thing to position into at that point. Okay. And it'll be multiple things, right? It'll be multiple things. So it won't just be one. And I don't even care what price gold is trading at that point. I will be, allocating more physical gold. And it's been a long time since I've purchased a large amount of physical gold, but I don't care what the price. I want to, anyway, here we go. By the way, big shout out for whoever was joining us from Oaxaca this morning. Me and my wife were married in Oaxaca at the Church of Santo Domingo. Please, if you're there right now in the center of Plaza, please say a prayer for us today. I appreciate that. All right, what else are we looking at over there? Best community ever, without a question. Boom. Yeah, I mean, Raul, so the thing about Raul, he's really good at putting together the information that all Bitcoiners have put together for the last 10 years. But he's great at being able to express this from people who come from a traditional finance background. And he's just, helping the adoption of Bitcoin by far. But that's not, yeah, you go. That's not necessarily Raul's number, right? If you saw his last research paper and he's like, Bitcoin fixes this, he took all memes of the Bitcoin community and he just wrote them into his research paper. Pax Gold, Wes, I think that's something that I could see myself buying in the future. Yeah, without question. I could see myself. I haven't yet purchased any. You can purchase it on BlockFi, and I could see myself easily purchasing Pax Gold just because it's easy. Reza, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this is a blessed family here on Conquering the Markets. Bitcoin, again, why I'm looking for it to consolidate here. It's got a little bit of a bounce in a step. If it breaks through this resistance, what are we looking at next? I think it could be a quick move into this area over here. It's wholly up at 14 now, right? Do we have anything over here, towards 1300? There's a little bit of noise there. There's a little bit of noise there for sure. Right around 13.2 in that area, right? Oh, that's where we peaked out last time. So, okay, that makes sense then why we peaked out right there where we did yesterday. So, and that was for, that was for minutes, right? This spike up was for minutes. That's why you never FOMO. So that makes sense. So we blast through there. I think this is where we target next. That's coming in close to 1400. That's just probably taking out the high of there. All right, so let's go look at FX. Yeah, a couple of things I wanted to look at. One of them was from Brandon this morning. I'll start with the Australian dollar Swiss franc. He was looking at this. Massive. He had a beautiful chart. I wish I had his chart. But Brandon was looking at this massive downtrend here on the Australian dollar Swiss franc. He noticed the recent weakness of late. By the way, we are coming up into a possible risk event. What is that? The U.S. election, right? It's on our doorstep. Now, of course, the greatest risk to the market would be that being a non-event. If the U.S. election is a non-event, there's a good chance the markets go in fuego, right? To the upside. And some astute traders have taken out a lot of call options on that. What's going on over here? So you're coming into some resistance right now. Is that line I have perfect? Look over here. Like, you see the peaks right here, and then you see the market peaking right there. Obviously, my resistance is a little off. You could see that, yeah? So I'm going to go ahead and move that up right there, right? And we're coming into that right now. You could see that this is in a clear downtrend. I don't even need to pull up the true trend, but if I did, it's clear also that we're in a strong downtrend over here. And we like to sell resistance in downtrends, right? As just happened over there. Is this another opportunity right over here? If rejected, well, sure it is. There's no question about that. We have to yellow flag that, because that's something later in the evening to go ahead and discern. Is that the best setup of the day that you want to take advantage of? And it could be. It looks pretty good right now, right? So let's take a look around the markets. Yeah, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. You see the Australian dollar bouncing today. That's also coming into, I'm trying to see, this is an area that I haven't been obviously focused on this chart in a while, which is why you could see it's so off. We're a little bit below some big resistance over here right now. Is it a no man's land? No. Is it better if you make lower highs? Yeah, but there's nothing there that's attractive for me. All right, Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Ever since the breakdown, a lot of you got this trade over here because it was during the New York session that it triggered. Look, this has been a nice trade to play out. Nothing else to say. That's only I'm managing a position. I would not be looking to take a new entry. I'm going to go through things quick unless something stands out. Then we'll take a look and really focus in on it. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Look, we're all over this. This is conquering the markets all day long, right? Australian dollar, US dollar. Someone bought this up in the live stream yesterday. They pointed out this descending wedge to me, right? And then we broke out. We've come back down for a retest, and now possibly are resuming up. That could give a buy signal over here. Hey, listen, I wouldn't take it, but that's what's happening. So I think that the Australian dollar has a lot of noise over here. I call it noise in this area over here that we're just coming up into right now. I don't like it. And also, I'm not a fan of the dollar right now. When I say dollar, I'm talking about the DXY because it's, I have that bearish bias and will continue until we break this trend line that you all had me add over here, right? Going back over there to the peak high in March, a couple of touches over here and then again over there. And as long as we're below that bearish bias remains intact, but it's just sideways. I don't want to focus it on the Australian dollar, US dollar. Let me go actually unflag that now anyway. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Oh, this looks interesting. Why does that look interesting? Well, we had the breakdown of our trend line over there, right? Breakdown and then a retest already. So this is still getting set up. I would not take a short here yet, but it's getting set up. So I like why I wouldn't take a short. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 red bars in a row. Even this one's just a doji, and the one right now is also looking like a possible doji. But all of them had lower lows. I'd like to see into the retest, not always, but I like to see a price bar making a higher low, before. So I'll still give that a little bit of time before looking to get ahead over there. Yeah, hockey, that's so true. Yeah, if you don't give your time being ahead of a trade and just sitting back and letting things work out, then you're not doing it right, right? Swiss franc, Japanese yen. We all looked at the short over there. Beautiful trade. Came back, broke this. Is that the best line? Yeah, it's a good line. Broke that that support, and then already came back and tested it a little bit. It's coming off. You're into local support right over there. Still got a lot of work to do, but the entry was so good and gave you so much room. It's really easy and nice managing a position when you just fall right into profit right away. Euro, Australian dollar. What's going on over here? We had that big breakout of the range, right? Someone would not have taken that entry over there because that would have come during Asia. We avoid Asia like the plague. We don't take any new signals during Asia, right? And why do we do that? Because that has the most false signals. Avoiding Asia will right away increase your overall profitability. So what happens right now, this looks beautiful. I mean, everyone look at that big base we put in over there. This was resistance forever. And now after the breakout, that looks like, right, a nice consolidation pattern. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know if that's a channel, if that's maybe a descending wedge forming. But either way, this is still looking really solid. And this looks like just waiting for the right entry over here. Euro, Canadian dollar. Mark, it depends. So I believe, so first of all, before you buy Bitcoin, you need to understand Bitcoin. You need to understand that you're in control of your own security. You need to know what that means. Is storing Bitcoin offline in a hardware device such as a ledger, a treasure, a cold card smart? Yeah, I think it's very smart. It's one of the best things you can do. Now, there are things like multi-sig where you're using multiple hardware devices to store your Bitcoin is a lot more prudent and safer. But for most people starting off, just using one type of hardware wallet is a good idea. Do I think storing Bitcoin on BlockFi is a good idea? Well, I also, think it's okay to store a little bit of Bitcoin on different exchanges. If you store it on an exchange, you don't own the keys, you don't own the Bitcoin. That's for sure. But that's the same thing with your dollars in a bank account, right? You don't own those dollars anyway. You're taking that third party risk. And if you think the FDIC is going to be there to insure your funds if the banking system fails, well, listen, don't trust government. But here's the thing. BlockFi, they have pretty good security. You could whitelist an address, or you could have that blank so that no funds could be withdrawn for a week, so that if your account was compromised, you'd be able to recover it, as well as they do facial recognition before withdrawal. So I feel pretty safe, about keeping a certain amount of funds on BlockFi. By the way, speaking of BlockFi, so I did something interesting I'm going to share with all of you all. I took out a loan on BlockFi, right? So I had X amount of Bitcoin, right, on BlockFi, right? And then I took out a loan against it. So you could take up to 50%. Like say you had $100 in BlockFi, you could take out a loan for $50 against that Bitcoin over there. So I actually got into, my loan happened to be I think Bitcoin at 13,000 is cheap. But anyway, so I took out a loan and I bought more Bitcoin with that money. And I felt like that was a pretty good leverage play because BlockFi does not offer leverage. Anyway, very, very, very astute play over there on my part, I believe. We'll see what happens. Let's keep going over there. I was having fun looking at these markets. Let's look at the Euro Canadian dollar. We already did gold. JC Travels. In the beginning of the live stream, we start with the S&P 500. Then we go to the Nasdaq. Then we go to the Dow. Then we go to the Russell. Then we go to the DXY. And then we look at gold. We gave a really good look at gold today. So what I suggest you do is pull back on that live stream until you see over here, this chart over here, and you see XAU US dollar. And then watch over there because it was a really good look at what's going on over there. Ooh, Miguel, the best tacos ever in Oaxaca. Oaxaca is known for their food. A lot of interesting things going on Oaxaca. Definitely a culinary gem of Mexico. Here's the Euro Canadian dollar, and you can see that a couple of things have happened here. I'm going to take a look at it, even though I'm not looking to highlight it, because we're into this area over here. This is like a big, big, big consolidation area. So I like it above here where there's less going on. However, what I see happening over here, right? We've come back up. We're now testing this broken resistance as support. And I also see this channel, right? I also see that channel developing, which means the reason I point that out, if we break below this support and below this trend line over there, you could clean that up on your own chart. At that point, that brings up a good short trade. This brings up a good long trade. This brings up a good short trade down over here. Euro Swiss franc. So I've been avoiding this, right? I've been playing what's going on. That's why it's green lighted, not yellow lighted, because I saw that it broke down out of this range over here. Look at all that noise. We finally broke down, so I green lighted it, meaning I want to watch what happens and try to play it out. The best thing that I could say right now is you could see this is a bear flag developing. Down move, bear flag developing, a breakout below here. That might be a trade I'm interested in. Interested in. Is it possible we go into a big risk-off event in the next couple of weeks? Why, I do believe it is. We will see. I mean, Robert, that's all perspective and time preference. Again, so look, fast forward to the end of the bull market and when Bitcoin trades off 80, 85%, I think the low of Bitcoin in the next bear market will be somewhere around, and I'll have to calculate this after the top of the bull market, but it could be on the low end, right around $30,000 or $40,000. So do I think 13,000 Bitcoin is gotten away from me? Oh, not at all. I would tell mom to buy it right now, right? Jump forward to the pound Canadian dollar and then the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. On the 1 hour chart, I mean, I do not ever look at the 1 hour chart, right? Is that a bear flag? I mean, so the reason I don't trade the 1 hour chart is because it's just too noisy. You know, I would stay away from it. You just look at all, it's no way. You're just, look, it's just, no way. Just stay away from it. It's too hard to trade. So I'll tell you what's going on in the 8 hour, right? You're coming into this resistance right now, and you just gave a short signal over there, you know, off of that resistance, right? So are you getting a bear flag on the 1 hour continuation? Maybe, but that's a hard time preference to trade. Overall, bigger picture on the pound Canadian dollar. You could see this nice little, what is this? This is like a triangle maybe developing over here, right? And after we get some type of revolution on the break exit, that could be a nice trade developing over here. But right now, I don't see it. The other thing that we wanted to look at was the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Before we start going, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. That was a clear break. Remember, I gave a very strong indication of looking for a long down over there. We've broken out of the wedge now, right? This is like gravy train. What's the next step on here? Now you're looking for some type of a retest and resumption to pick up a new position. Do I think it's a good idea to use Ethereum to dollar cost average into Bitcoin, or is it better just to use the money to full on buy into Bitcoin? I don't no idea. It depends on where you've bought Ethereum and what your position is. Look, I just prefer Bitcoin. I think it's a safer investment. Ethereum could well outperform. In 2020, Ethereum's outperformed Bitcoin. I believe that's still true. And I think it's going to continue to do that. I just want to get a quick check over here to tell you if that's still true. This is January to right here. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Bitcoin, Ethereum has drastically outperformed Bitcoin. Do I think that's going to happen and continue over the next year or the next 6 months? Yes, I definitely do. Nevertheless, I'm not looking to continue to hold Ethereum. Look, anyway, I just prefer what I perceive to be the safer investment. It's highly speculative. There's an enormous amount of upside, and you know, just treat it as a highly speculative investment. All right. Yes, you could buy a fraction of a Bitcoin on BlockFi. Absolutely, you can. Jordan, it won't be too noisy when you add some tequila to my matcha. Let me take a sip of my matcha as we get going over here this morning. Strawberry jam. I'm a mezcal guy. I'm a mezcal guy. Tequila is a little bit crazy skates. All right, what else we got going? Let's keep going over here. Let me take a look at the pound pairs. We haven't even gotten into. Let's look at the Euro US dollar. Euro US dollar is very much like what's going on with the DXY, and that is sideways. Is this setting up for a big move? Is it setting up for a big move to the upside or downside? Let's wait and see. Right now, it's just something that I prefer to avoid, right? When it was jumping, that's where we were involved, or I was involved in it. I don't see that happening right now. Let me also look around over here. What's going on US again, a dollar pair sideways. So you guys get the gist over here of where my head's at. Dollar pair sideways. Not for me. Peter Schiff made you doubt Bitcoin? Man. Let's take a look at Tesla. Right? Everyone was on Tesla yesterday before the earnings, knowing that it was at a critical point of that triangle. It's broken up into resistance right now. I think it's best to avoid Tesla, personally, at this point in time. As the equity markets, we looked at the equity markets. We gave our analysis on the equity markets, this morning. Right there is a possible buy signal right now on the Nasdaq. it was probably the best looking off of this support over here, off of this trend line support over there, breaking out possibly of the channel. Why? Because you could put a really tight stop loss in over here. It's happening at right now. The entry, it's at entry right now. You could put a tight stop loss in over here, or even tighter below that bar over here, the entry bar, right? Because if you're out, if you're wrong, right? But you're targeting, what are you targeting on this? I think up into this area over here, right there is where you would first move your stop loss to break even, take a little profit, and then looking to push into this next bit of resistance over there. The risk to reward is there on the Nasdaq right now. What else? How about XRP? We could check out some of the alts right now. XRP, like, focus on these trend lines over there, right? And then the outer trend line we had. Interesting that after breaking out, XRP fell back below the trend line over there and then was rejected by that little bit of support. You could see that. Like, you got to take your loss. You don't always get the win. You got to be able to take your loss. And then over here, broke out again, came in for the perfect retest, and now took out the higher, made a higher swing high, and is not taking out all of that. There's nothing in the way right now of XRP. It is also joining this big alt move over there. Thanks, Robert. I do appreciate that. I might still worry highly. Let's take a look at them just from a T8 standpoint and see if something becomes so clear that I'm like, all right, I'll take it, then that's the case. But yeah, for a long time, I've been avoiding all this noise. So talk about clarity anyway. So talk about clarity over here. We just broke above this big resistance over there. It looks like we're confirming it into support. When I said, would I take something that's glaringly clear like this? I have to say, this is something to think about. I'm not going to take it. This is something to consider and think about because we've just broken out of a big resistance level. If we do resume off of this, is that an opportunity to take a trade on the pound Australian dollar? Well, I think it is, What about the pound Canadian dollar? So that one's a little more clear, right? For me, breaking outside of this two big levels at the resistance and support over there, that's when I might get involved for a bigger sustained move. This is the pound Swiss franc, noisy. I don't even like it. Pound Japanese yen, nothing clear. This was a big rejection over there. So you can see that pound is New Zealand dollar is stronger than the Australian dollar at the moment. If the pound got above this resistance over there, breaking at that range like on the pound Australian dollar, it's a cleaner technical setup on the pound Australian dollar. And over here, you're getting see the mixed signals on the pound. There's nothing I like at all. Above this, I don't know. There's nothing I like. And then over here, there's nothing I like. Yeah, no, there's no question. The pound pairs have nothing going on for me. I would watch what's happening just for a learning exercise here on the pound Australian dollar and to see whether or not you're able to get an entry over here. And then I would play it out in my head and I would not take the trade. Yeah, that's right. There's no pretty setups on FX right now. And yeah, digital money, right? It's making new lows today. Let's see. Look at that chart. Yeah, I mean, I stay away from exotics that just don't have volume and have enormous swaps such as this. Stay far, far, far away. A couple of times this year, it was like tempting to take a position, but if you're not an expert on something, stay away. And I'm not an expert on exotics like this. I don't understand a lot going on, So I only focus in on what I know, right? And that's why I've never traded an option in my life. I don't understand them enough to consider myself an expert where I have an edge in the markets. Now you can, if you understand options, if you understand how to price them, if you understand time decay, you could trade the conquering the market strategy using options, and no doubt you'll be highly successful. It's just not, I don't understand it. Yeah, Cardano, let's check it out. I assume all of crypto is flying right now, right? So Cardano. Let me check out also what's going on over there on Binance to see if we have more data. Or Bitstamp would give me the most, right? I don't see it. Let's check out what there's a little bit more. There we go. Good enough for me. So it's lagging, right? When I say it's lagging, you can see it's kind of lagging the rest of the altcoin market over here. Yeah, there's not much else to say except that probably, again, this is why instead of getting involved in an individual, so there's a couple of things here. For sure, if you're invested, whether it's the top 20, the top 10, the top 20, or the top 70 of altcoins, they outperform Bitcoin, right? And I think it was the top 70 or outperformed by a factor of 4 to 1, right? So again, bringing it back to my preferred trade is what I believe not to be something speculative, which is Bitcoin, right? All investments are speculative investments. We're speculators, of course. But I mean, it's proven technology, in my opinion. It is software. There could be a bug and it could end up in a disaster. There's risk involved in everything. But when it comes to, the market, I prefer trading on Bitcoin. So in my opinion, a 2x, a 3x trade on Bitcoin. If you're in the States, you could look into things like Coinbase Pro in certain states, or Kraken, right? And which offers up to 3x. And I think that's a much more secure, solid trade than getting involved in just like, speculative projects, and that's I think the way to go. That's awesome. It's not that, I mean, that's what we do here, Alejandro. It's not that you're stealing it. That's awesome. Like the whole idea is to work together to better each other, to build each other up. And, the reason that this information is shared is to help you in your trading. The fact that you use the strategy trading options and are successful, that's awesome, And you know what, Alejandro, if you're now profitable because of this, go ahead and take the course, There you go, Robert. Thank you for that. So, James, I want to talk about this because right now we've looked through the markets. We all have an idea what's going on, and it's kind of a sit on your hands day, no? Like you're holding whatever positions you go. Everyone here should be unreasonably long Bitcoin and enjoying that trade right now. I don't really see too much going on and that's from Raul Pal. Irresponsibly long, right? That's what he says, and I love it. That's fantastic. Look, I could say that with over now 50% of my net worth into Bitcoin, but that's fine. There's just not any. Maybe the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, which Brandon pointed out, is giving a possible entry here if this resistance holds, and if it doesn't, it gives another opportunity up into that resistance. But I don't really see too much this will look better maybe by Asia, right? Maybe by Asia time. I mean, Asia, when I place my orders, this trade might look better, but there's not a big wave of setups coming in today on the markets. So the question, thank you, C. Brown. Definitely agree. I think it's invaluable. I think it's invaluable for many reasons, and for many different people, it doesn't even matter. So thank you for that, C. Brown. The course, I highly, highly recommend the course and the community as well. Jordan, how do you do good resumption look like, and how do you spot it on the 8-hour time frame? And that's why you want to take the course. I mean, everything from risk per trade to how often you should be trading to what the exact entry looks like to how you manage the trade. I mean, it's just it's a working strategy. But for a resumption, that's always price making when selling a lower low than the previous 8-hour price bar during the correct time of day, or a higher high than the previous price bar when buying. So James, I think the biggest question on my mind right now, James, is, I mean, as far as Bitcoin being made obsolete, there's not going to be a new cryptocurrency that offers anything better than Bitcoin that would make it obsolete. So now let me finish my train of thought here, right? So and when you look at, by the way, this is Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, who just invested $450 million into Bitcoin on his balance sheet, and is already up 79 million. Amazing. So, the reason he invested in Bitcoin is because that it is actually old proven technology. He doesn't want to invest in some altcoin that hopes it could do this, that, or is bringing something new to the table. He invested in Bitcoin because you had the fork wars, right? BCH trying to fork off Bitcoin, and the community fought and stood behind Bitcoin. That's what he wants. When you're investing that type of money, you're looking for proven technology. You're not looking for new technology. Bitcoin, by the way, is software that could be upgraded. You've heard the analogy that the first iPhone was not the iPhone. Well, yeah, but it's still the iPhone. It's just a different version of the iPhone. Or, Windows went through, all these different upgrades of Windows, right? Bitcoin is software that could be upgraded. So, but they're very slow to make changes about that. They don't want to make any mistakes. Now, I think the biggest risk in my mind is the central bank digital currencies. And it's not because they offer a better proposition. Well, clearly they don't. It's just fiat rebranded and wrapped up with more control on their end and more features. But the thing is that it still could be inflated away, and the supply could be increased with the click of a button. Bitcoin, the whole reason that Bitcoin is because of the decentralized network, because of the maxed capped supply on Bitcoin. So what happens though in this central bank digital world where they do have full control, if they make all on and off ramps, completely impossible to Bitcoin, does Bitcoin become obsolete? Maybe. That's something I'm concerned about, right? You all know that the thing that I'm most concerned about always is my risk, is the other side of the trade. That's what I'm always looking at. That's why in January, the end of January, first week of February on this channel, all of us were stocking up food supplies and medical supplies for months, because we saw what was happening with the situation, with the with whatever. And go back and look at the videos, way ahead of anyone else, because we're always looking at the risk. And is it a risk that these central bank digital currencies are some way able to make Bitcoin? Forget making Bitcoin illegal, because you can make Bitcoin illegal, but you can't stop the use of Bitcoin. I don't think the peer-to-peer end of Bitcoin is nearly big enough that it could survive on its own at this point. Now, would it be some type of underground type stuff? Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. Boom, 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 boom. Rich, I took the Jordan's course. I also on a WhatsApp group from a different course I took. Those on the other course still haven't got a clue what they're doing. Look, all I can say is that the community that we got going on, whether it's here on YouTube, whether it's more private in the Telegram from the people you guys are just all amazing, and you guys make me a better person and a better trader, and I'm glad for it. I'm grateful for it. Yeah. So what else? I think we're gonna end this session short. I know it's only been 1 hour, but that's where we are today. Actually, we're gonna go 5 more minutes if there's any other questions we want to talk about. Only because gold is looking attractive. We give a beautiful analysis on gold today, right? And it's a make or breaker moment, right? Where it's going to hold this level or not. And if not, at that point, then that's why we don't trade breakouts. That's why you wait for the resumption, the higher high. Don't trade breakouts. Super low probability trade. Wait for the retest happening now. if you get the resumption, that's a long entry on gold. Or if you never get the entry, then we're looking back down in this area, and that could offer another long entry on gold. So you got it, Alan. The reason I'm getting off because we do have in 30 minutes, we have a Conquering the Markets training session. Instead of Tuesday, it was Thursday this week because I was traveling. I just want to prepare for that and get everyone going. All right, so we'll check in later this afternoon. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thanks for spending this time together. Great session. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Pea Soup. Like mind sharpen one another. Iron sharpens iron. That's right. Really enjoyed the session, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending the time. Thanks for smashing that like button, that thumbs up. It does support me. It does support the channel, and it helps other people who don't know about this. It could change their life. It could change their life. That's a big deal just because you hit a thumbs up. I have to pause that a second. So the question is am I still doing, by the way, I read every single comment that comes through over here. They're all so important to me. The question is, are we still going to do a session on the scenario out of the election? I don't think so. You know what? We'll be there. We'll trade what happens. I don't want to talk about what could happen ahead of time only because like everyone at this point is really, how do I say, like, I don't know. You know, it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. And we could just follow what's happening on the charts and work our way through it together. But we don't need to plan out together what are the possible scenarios because, you know, it's just better that way. We don't need to do that. I will definitely, as everything unfolds, be there with you to navigate it together. And you all know we do a really good job at that. Crazy skates. That's from, what is that? Some cartoon I used to watch my daughter when she was like 2 or 3. That has become a staple of my vocabulary. Thank you, D. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. God bless you. I'll speak to you this afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow.